This one's called Feel the Wrath and it has words.
Feel the wrath. Feel the wrath. Wrath.
Got it.
Brewmaster
Yes.
to Feel the Wrath podcast. How are you doing?
Thank you, sir. I'm doing good. Chilling out here in Brooklyn.
Hell yeah. That's so dope. You liking
Yeah.
it out there?
Yeah, it's hot as fuck right now.
Really? Like how hot?
It's like in the 90s today.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
But does it cool down at night like in the West Bay, or does it just stay hot?
No, it stays pretty warm, you know?
Does it?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
because I think it's that weather from the south coming up, you know?
Oh, okay. Hell yeah. Fuck yeah. All right. Well, I got a bunch of shit written down. So we're just gonna go through the regular questions and whatnot and get through, a bunch of shit, because a lot of people don't know that me and you go way, way back.
Yeah, man.
But so this is Victor. We've known each other since John Gill, but I'm just gonna go through the regulars. So where were you born?
So I was born in Mexico,
Okay.
in Zamora, Michoacan.
Okay.
A funny story. I asked my aunt recently, just to share some stories and stuff like that, and she's all, oh, when you were born, my mom says, my mom was maybe 2 weeks away from giving birth, and she took off to Mexico.
Oh wow.
She was in Redwood City, right?
Uh-huh.
She took off to Mexico. I was born in Mexico, and then like less than a year later, we came back. She came back with me. So
Oh, okay. Nice.
pretty much, I was conceived in Redwood City, born in Mexico, and then raised in Redwood City.
Oh yeah. And where in Redwood did you grow up at? I mean, obviously you went to the school that I went to, but what part of Redwood?
So like first, I lived like on Chestnut when we were really young,
Okay.
and then we moved to what some people call Little Mex area,
Yep.
Huntington Avenue,
Okay.
and then I don't even know when we moved to the west side,
Uh-huh.
and then that's when I started going to John Gill.
And you went there from kindergarten on?
No, I went to Hoover.
Okay.
Until third grade,
Third
and
grade.
then to John Gill, like around third or fourth grade, I went to John Gill.
Okay. Yeah, I think we probably either met third or fourth grade.
Yeah.
Cause yeah, so yeah, so I think you were in the B-boy crew that we were in third or fourth grade, and we did our little traveling from, well, first we we messed around, started breakdancing and whatnot, but then we actually got a crew together and went from class to class and did a little fucking routine and all that. I don't even think we had a team or whatever, but it was just, that was kind of the start of the whole hip hop thing for me back in the day, like 83 or 84, something like that.
Yeah. So when I was at Hoover in third grade, I saw dudes spinning on their head and doing what some people call the centipede or the worm or whatever,
Yeah.
and they were doing it on the concrete, right?
Ooh.
Yeah, and there used to be a game room, and they used to play records during recess and shit like that, and the dudes would break dance. I remember in third grade, I remember seeing it for the first time. Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, man, that was like 80 something, right?
No,
Early 80s.
And I mean, we're gonna go back to that, but I know that your name is Victor, but a lot of people call you Roy. Is that your middle name?
Yeah, that's my middle name pretty much.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
why. 'Cause I was like, I know you by Victor. That's all I've never known you. And then Jayster is like, oh, you know, Roy. And I'm like, oh, why does everybody keep calling him Roy? I'm like, I know this is the dude I know, but
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's on my birth certificate is Victor Rogelio
okay.
Alvarez, right? And so Rogelio is my dad's name,
Huh?
and then short for uh, Rogelio is Roy.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
And so they just named me that, and then they just called me Roy. Pretty much my whole family. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. So going back to the b-boy thing, so we started b-boying, I don't know, fourth, fifth grade, something like that. I believe it's fourth. But
Yeah.
and do you remember Jeremy Nelson?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
stoner dude who used to always talk about Aussie stories and shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember him actually. His name popped up in my head today.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, old heads. I was thinking of old heads, and Sergio Baez, and
Uh-huh.
Walter Martinez,
Oh,
Lincoln Loving.
yep. And what
Yeah,
about Brian Davis? So
yeah,
not the redhead Brian Davis, but Brian Davis, who's basically was the best break dancer, John Gill.
yeah, yeah. I remember that.
And
Yeah. Oh, and,
so
Vince Go.
Vince Go, yeah.
He was dope.
But so here's a little story. So Brian obviously he could do continuations, he could do flares, he could do
Yeah, man.
handspins, and he would just kill it,
Yeah.
right? And so one time I got to go to his apartment. It was, I don't know the exact street. It was one street after Hudson, over to the right, almost by Church of Christ. And
Okay.
and he had this like little closet that he kept a bunch of his stuff in, and he like would go and hide in or whatever. But it was the first time that I ever remember seeing somebody do a piece. And I don't remember what it said, but he was already kind of into doing
Right.
letters, and it was probably whack back then, but I just remember it was my first, like, it might have even been before I saw Star Wars, but it always just popped in my head that I remember him actually doing that. And then, I don't know when he left John Gill, because I think he left there before we graduated.
Mhm.
And who knows, he could have turned into be a sick graph artist, or I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what happened to him, but I remember the transition from Hoover to John Gill, and just seeing, because John Gill was really like multicultural.
Mhm.
And so like you would see a lot of that culture popping up right there really a lot sooner, right?
Mhm.
In the 70s, I remember. And so by the time I got to John Gill, I was already kind of breaking, but I wasn't totally into it. I really got into it when I got to John Gill, because there I was part of a crew,
Yeah.
so it was different. Like at Hoover, because it was so multicultural, there was a lot of big bullies, right?
Sure.
So I was really small kid, so I was nobody at Hoover. But when I went to John Gill, it was kind of a little bit more normal for me.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Cool. Wow.
yeah.
Yeah. And then, so, although you hung out with us, when we were doing our breaking thing, but who was your boys? I mean, you might have probably said already, Walter Martinez and all that.
Sergio was the one I hung out with,
Sergio.
because he lived on my side of the town.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I already knew him, and then he had a bakery.
Oh,
We would go. His dad, not he did, but his dad, his family,
sure.
they had a bakery, so we would go kick it at his bakery. And so like back then the thing was to have a cardboard,
Yep. Yep.
because they had a bakery, they had big pieces of cardboard.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's why I would go over there.
That was a pandereta?
It's La Michoacana.
Okay.
It was definitely a bakery.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it was a Latino bakery, no?
Yeah, yeah,
It was sure.
yeah.
Okay.
Panaderia, I guess. Yeah.
And you still talk to Sergio?
Well, I mean, what's funny is that my dad he still goes to the bakery and stuff like that. And he would
Oh
see
wow.
Sergio. Yeah, he would see him and he'd be like, "Oh, where's Roy?" And he would always ask me to come by, but I was working in Oakland, so it was like I was leaving really early and coming back really late. So, it
Yeah.
was like not a. I didn't have a really too many opportunities. I guess maybe on the weekends I did, but then
Uh-huh.
on the weekends, you do shit too.
Yeah, totally. Um, yeah, and then I'm not sure if I actually talked about the fucking rockers versus rappers fucking
Yeah, and that was like more like high school, right?
no, no,
Or
no, 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 no. That was
John
sixth grade
Gill.
graduation.
Oh, at John Gill.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
So we had our little b-boy crew, and I was friends. I mean, both of us, we were friends with some of the people who were like metalheads and other people who were into hip hop. But
yeah,
but a lot of us like both or whatever. And so we had the sixth grade graduation, and Vinsco and Dan Figaro, for some reason, because Dan Figaro was part of the rockers and
yeah,
Vinsco was part of the rappers, and
yeah.
they duked it out on the field and like went and fought each other. It was hilarious.
I remember that.
But it always comes out like me and Zoomer and Dan will be kicking it, and we'll just talk about it every once in a while.
Yeah, that's so funny, man.
We're just silly little kids being in sixth grade, just fucking, but it just always comes out. This shit's
It
hilarious.
was crazy.
No, but and then you went to excuse me, to McKinley,
Yeah,
and then I remember having you in wood shop class,
yeah,
and one of the projects was make something on the bandsaw, and so I made like the Thrasher decal from the Thrasher
yeah.
magazine,
I remember that shit.
and then I made the DRI, the dude doing the dance. I
Yeah.
always remember you did the Run DMC
Oh yeah.
shit, and that was dope. I was like, ugh.
Yeah, yeah. I remember that shit now,
Would
dude.
you happen to still have that?
Oh hell no.
No.
I don't know what happened to it, you know what I'm
I
saying?
still have the DRI one.
That's dope.
Or no, DRI. I know I had the Thrasher one, but yeah, there's certain things that I'm
Yeah,
kind of pragmatic.
there was a time that I stopped keeping my art, it's like
Okay.
I just give it away,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
draw or paint or do something and I'll give it away.
Sure. And then after that, did you went to Sequoia, right?
Yeah, ninth grade, I went to Washington State.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
yeah, and I lived on Lopez Island for a year for my
Really?
freshman year. And so I went to high school for my freshman year there. And then sophomore year, I came back to Sequoia.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because you and I lost touch probably in high school. I mean, and then
That year, yeah, it took off. But I came back for, yeah, the rest of the high school, I went to Sequoia.
okay. Uh-huh. And then so then after high school, what did you get into? Like,
I did college, I did CSM,
okay.
I was at San Mateo, and I did Foothill.
Uh-huh.
I did about a year and a half at CSM and then like 2 years at Foothill. And then I did graphic design. So I got into graphic design.
Cool.
That's around the same time that we're recording with Nacho and them. So we would, I would do some drawings for that kind of stuff. And,
Okay.
we're doing graph, remember, in high school.
Uh-huh.
And then rapping too, right? So like if you're hurt during high school, it's actually like from elementary, like around fifth and sixth grade, that's when I started doing fucking with graph too.
Uh-huh.
because I saw that KQED program.
Star Wars.
And then, right, almost everybody saw that shit. And then there was, what do you call it, an auto shop right behind my house, on the other side of my house. And so I would jump the fence and I would steal the spray paint.
Hell yeah.
You know, but it would be like spray paint for like engines and stuff, you know, so it'd be gray and blue and black, you know, red. So, you know, plain ass colors, but I would jump the fence, take those, and then I would go to behind Coors. Remember Coors on the train tracks?
Uh-huh.
So I would go behind Coors right there, and there would already be some graffiti right there.
On Middlefield.
And I started doing the graffiti right there.
What did you write back then?
Just random shit.
Oh, really?
You know? Yeah. I don't think I had a name, because the way that I saw hip hop or graffiti was, a lot of it was like, yeah, they had names, but a lot of it was like also like you know, hip hop don't stop, you know, crime, all you see is crime in the city, you know. So it was they were saying shit. So that's kind of like the stuff that I got into more, you know.
Okay.
Like, do some paintings that say some shit, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I didn't really have a name until like, I think probably like high school and shit.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the first one is funny was Ace, you know,
Uh-huh.
and then Rack, RAC, and it was just Ace, which pretty much I was into comic books, and I was reading a Spider-Man comic book, and one of the Spider-Man comic books, somebody tagged Ace. So I took the tag from the Spider-Man comic book,
Dope.
and then RAC was Roy Alvarez, right? Roy Alvarez crew, which was only me.
That's dope.
I put Ace Rack everywhere, you know, and that's how most of the writers at that time knew me. They'd be like, "Oh shit, you're Ace," and I'd be like, "Yeah, you're Ace Rack." That's what they would say. Like, "Oh, you're Ace Rack," and I'd be like, "Yeah,
I remember seeing it, but I didn't know it was you.
yeah,
That's dope.
yeah."
Yeah.
Because you know, I was solo all that time. I didn't know anybody else around me doing it, you know. I mean, yeah, we did the b-boy stuff, but
Right.
I think during junior high is when I started getting more into the graph, because I was already doing it like in 5th and 6th grade, but I didn't say anything because I was stealing stuff and I was doing stuff I shouldn't. I wasn't really sharing it with people. But 7th grade, I did it more because that's when breaking was really kind of like dying down.
Yeah.
I was like, well, fuck, I gotta do something. So I started doing more painting.
Nice.
Yeah, and then when I went to Washington, I did some painting up there.
Mhm.
Then I came back down. What's funny is when I went up to Washington, I don't know if you know, ever heard of Stash? That Stash,
Uh-huh.
the writer. He was up there in Seattle,
Okay.
and I was up in the San Juan Islands. But they interviewed him, and I saw it in the San Juan Islands, you know, because you would catch the stations up there from Seattle.
Crazy.
Yeah, so I saw him, and then I came back to Sequoia, and he moved to Redwood City too.
Yep. That's Stash 5.
Yeah,
TMF.
Stash 5. So it was hella funny, and I go, "Oh shit, you're Stash 5." He's like, "Yeah," and I go, "Yeah, I saw that shit. I was up in Washington last year." He's like, "Oh shit," and he's like, "I was in." Yeah, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it was funny. But see, I was already doing all that. I wasn't really telling anybody though. And then when I got back to Sequoia 10th grade, sophomore year, is when I started catching up with everybody.
Uh-huh.
And so you know, I got into it with Art and Phil.
Okay.
Were the first ones. And actually in junior high, the ones that were doing graph, I don't know if you know Rudy.
Yep. Mazelit.
Yeah, Rudy. He remembers me from 7th grade and all that, and we were doing graph. So if anybody remembers, it's him. There's another guy named Tony,
Okay.
but he was like the bully. He was the bully guy. They liked me because I was already into it and I knew how to draw and stuff like that. So it was like,
Sure.
I had a natural talent for it, so he hated me. And I was like, hater, so ever, bro. But Rudy was cool with me because, and he's like, oh shit, yeah, you're good at that shit, right? And then when I got to Sequoia, it was kind of the same shit, because I was back. Only so many people knew me. Some people from Hoover, some people from John Gill and McKinley. Still, there was some people that didn't know me, but they knew all my friends from that time, right? And so those guys would be hating on me and shit like that, and would be painting and stuff like that. So that's why I stayed really mostly for myself. So,
Okay.
yeah, it was like too many bad vibes around other people that,
Right.
didn't know how to paint.
That's cool, man. See, this is why we do these podcasts, because you get that, I know a bunch of people, but I don't know their stories. And that's why I love doing this, because I get to learn more about the people that I interview. So it's fucking rad.
Yeah, like sharing.
Hell yeah. And then so when did you start linking up with Jayster in 1628?
So like I already knew Jay from Sequoia, because we got actually the last time that I stopped doing graph, like in the senior year, right, of high school, because me and him got caught. We got caught.
Where'd you guys get caught at?
I don't know if you know that area they call the jungle, or I don't know what the hell they call it, right there by where Grand Prix Malibu used to be. Yeah, and there's the freeway, and there was the wall where people painted on the side of Malibu.
Oh, okay.
On the opposite side, you couldn't see anything because it was blocked off by the self-storage. So right off of the exit on Woodside, there's that little cut right in there.
Yeah. Right.
So I went up in there one day, and that shit was all, had vines and shit up all on the wall. So I started tearing them down. I got some whitewash. I whitewashed it all. Started painting, and then I painted before I told anybody. And then I went and told everybody, and then they're like, "Oh shit, you already painted?" I was like, "Hell yeah!" That was the first one. You know what I'm saying? I found this shit. Nobody was painting in there, so I painted, and I think people still go up in there.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't think I ever painted there, but I know Kindred and Weapon used to go there all the time.
Yeah, hella people.
Famous photos of plutocracy and stinkweed down there. That's dope.
So I remember that's we got busted right there, anyways, and so I was all like, right after that they made it a felony.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so I was all like, I'm not really gonna catch a felony for fucking painting on the wall, right?
Right.
And so like around junior year, me and Art started writing rhymes, right? So like, and then senior year I quit graph, so I kind of just focused on writing after that.
Nice.
Raps, writing rhymes and shit. And then me and Art, we started, it was a group, Tribe of Unusual Rhythm, we called it Tour.
And Art is Specs, right?
No, that was just me and Art. No, our Art, Wankanobi.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Wankanobi. Yeah, it gets loud out here, yeah. I don't know if you heard that. But, Art, Wankanobi. Right when I got back, me and him, right when I got back from Washington and I started my sophomore year, me and him got it along right away.
Okay.
And because he saw that I could write, he saw that shit, and he had his crew, so he's all like, join my crew, right? And I was like, all right. And so around junior year, we started writing rhymes. I wrote a rhyme because I heard that one guy, Captain Crunch from EPA.
Yeah.
He came out with his album.
Rated X.
Rated X, right? They came out with the album, and before that, everybody, all the rappers were from the East Coast, right? So it was kind of like this thing that's like other people do, right, from far away.
Yeah.
And so when they came out they were from EPA, I was just like, well, man, if they're doing that shit, I could do that shit, right?
Yeah.
I just started writing rhymes. So that was around junior year when that album came out.
Nice.
I think 86 or 85, 86. No, I mean
90, 91.
90, like 90, no, like 87, like 87, 88, no, 88, I think,
Around there, sure.
around there. Because we graduated in 91. I graduated in 91. You
So did I.
graduated.
Yeah.
So a few years before that, 89, right?
Yeah.
So I was just like, yeah, man, if that dude can do it across the way over here, he's an EPA, then I can make an album, right?
Mhm.
And so I started writing. I wrote the rhyme and then I showed it to Art. And then he's all like, oh shit. He's all, I'm gonna start writing rhymes too, right? So we started writing, and we got this one dude named Marcos, I forget his last name, but he used to DJ, right? So he had a whole setup, so we, whatever is easy, right? He was available. We used him. I really wanted Jay to make beats for us and stuff because I already knew Jay. I'd seen Jay DJ and cut it up and stuff like that. So I was just like, man, you know, I want him to make our beats, you know, but it never happened. And then, because that's when he was in his own world, right?
Mhm.
But then right after high school, that's when he came back around. But we were already messing with Nacho, right? So we went from Marcos to Nacho, to the Natch Lab, and then and that was on 15th Avenue, I think, in Redwood City. And that was in his upstairs bedroom. We'd go up there. His parents would let him smoke. We would smoke there all night. Him and Art would make beats. We'd do acid. We'd do all kinds of shit. We'd go to hip hop shows, you know. We'd bomb at the same time.
Oh yeah.
We're still bombing. We just didn't do it big, right?
Sure.
And then from Nacho, I forget what year. I think it was around 93. From 93 to 95, we were fucking with Nacho. And then around 95 is when we started with the Factor.
Okay.
Yeah, around 94, 95.
Sick.
And that's because that homeboy Ari had been fucking with us with Nacho. And then he got tired of it because nobody liked him there. So he went to, he heard Nacho was fucking, or Nacho, but Jayster was fucking with some beats. So he started fucking with him. Once shit got cool right there, he kind of told us about it. He's all like, hey, you should come over. You know, Jay's making beats. And we're like, I was all like, I always wanted him to make beats, right? So, like, I always knew that he would be dope at it, right? So I was just like, show up and just start rapping with him, you know? And I was just like, I was ready because it was kind of dwindling down with Nacho at that time for whatever reason. Yeah, man, around 95, fucking with Jayster, 96, 97 is when we did the 1628 Factor.
Okay.
Not for the Money, the Low Cash chapter, and then and the Red Tape. I don't know, I guess he calls it the Red Tape and something else.
Dope.
And that's where I met Specs.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Specs, because Ari was fucking with Specs too.
Okay.
They had that sub-level group. And then me and Specs hit it off because me and him were kind of the better ones, right? So after Jay and Ari got into religion, I got into it for like about a year. Because I was married and I had some marital issues. So I was like, used religion to try to fix it.
Sure.
It didn't work because religion, I mean, I guess it works for some people. It didn't work for me.
Right.
And then I left it. Right as soon as I left it, I started fucking with Specs.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I only made music like that. I never really made anything on my own, like
Okay.
me producing and me writing the rhymes and me making everything. Right?
Sure.
But I plan on doing that. I
Dope.
plan on,
Hell
yeah.
yeah. And when did you link up with Stinkweed?
Stinkweed through like junior high
Okay.
and high school.
Just because
Yep.
you were down in East Redwood, and that's how you met him, or
Writing, just from writing, because all the well, you know, I don't like the terms, but all the white boys, you know, fucking, you knew the Mexicans
uh-huh.
were writers, right? And so um, they would like hanging out with us and going out to write, you know. Um, that's kind of how I remember it, you know what I'm
Okay.
saying? That they saw us writing, they liked it, they wanted to be down with us, and we didn't care, you know. We're like, hell yeah, you guys want to write? Let's go write, you know.
Yeah.
And so, and then you know, we had those. A lot of guys were from San Carlos,
Yep.
right? Dells and
Reno's.
Renos and stuff. So it's kind of natural, you know, that everybody just got into it, you know.
Yep.
But for me, like I said, I started like fourth, fifth grade. So
Mhm.
for me, it was already kind of like I'm already used to it, you know. It's like it was natural for me. I was just like, whoever wants to be down, as long as they're good,
Yeah.
some hand styles, you know, it's good, you know.
Oh.
They don't suck.
Hey, so this fucking Zoom thing is gonna kick us off in like 8 minutes. So I'm
Okay.
gonna have to restart it again, and then we're gonna have to I'm gonna have to email you again just so you know, because this thing's like,
All
oh,
good.
fucking upgrade or return your shit off. So
Yeah. It
I'm
asked
gonna
me
have to
to.
interrupt you in like 8 minutes, just so you know.
All good.
So, but no, that's cool, man. I never knew the story, because it's funny, because I mean, me and Weapon, we basically got into graffiti at the same time as well, because we
Mhm.
started seeing RUC, Merc, BOD all over the place,
Remember
and
those guys? I remember these guys were big. Those everybody thought it was something different. Nobody knew what it was in the beginning. Um, Boys of Destruction or
yep,
Boys or what was,
Birds
was
of
that it?
Death,
What was it?
Birds of Death, Boys of Destruction.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's tons of, and nobody knew that they were fucking full on stoners with fucking, they're white boys stoners with feathered hair,
Yeah.
fucking Levi's jackets and shit and rocker shirts.
Yeah.
But they were cool as fuck too, because
Yeah.
me, Weapon, Renos, and two of them, Chris Smith and forget what the other's name is. We went up to Psycho, and we went to the Walgreens on Market, went and racked hella paint, and went and jumped the fence in the back of Psycho. There was like this fence that went all the way around this cement structure. We hopped the fence and like did our, well, I could never piece, but I tried to do what I could try to do.
Yeah.
And but we painted with them, and fucking, it was cool, man. Like,
Tight. That's tight, man. Yeah, I remember one time I was walking down El Camino, and like I said, I would just walk and I would write. You know,
uh,
just walk down El Camino, because when you're by yourself and not with a bunch of people, the cops don't really look at you too much. You
right.
know, so I would just go down the street, and whenever it was clear, boom, you know. And so Cells saw me doing it, right? And I just met him on the street just like that, because he's all like, "Oh, you right?" I was like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Oh, I'm Cells," and I'm all like, oh, "Okay," and I told him who I was, and he's all like, "All right," and we went. He's all like, "Oh, let's go racking," you know. I was all like, "All right," so we went to a couple of stores. I remember he took me to some of his spots.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And he's still, I think he's in Oakland now. He has a little Instagram page.
Yep, I've seen it.
It's crazy. So it's funny, because I know you through weed and marijuana and whatnot, right? But they
Yeah.
call you Brewmaster, and I'm like, where did you get this name? So why do they call you Brewmaster?
Well, that was from the rapping because first during the tour, I don't know why my name in the beginning was Beer Nut, but I think it was just in the beginning it was definitely more um, about yeah, like drinking raps and stuff like that. Because I don't know, it was just a thing, you know, for me, I guess. Um, and then so it went from the Beer Nut, which is a funny name, but to Brewmaster, right? Because I was just like, you know, I was with Art and them, and I was just like, well, I want to change it, you know, and so like, but I want to keep it, you know, similar, I guess, like the reference, you know, to beer.
Sure.
And so, you know, I think it was Art or said Brewmaster, right? And I was just like, yeah, you know, I like that one. And really for rapping and in terms of rhyming and stuff like that, Brewmaster to me meant like, yeah, I'm brewing up rhymes and brewing up ideas and brewing up, you know, you cook it up.
Yeah.
You know, a witch's brew type of shit.
Sure.
But the Brewmaster because there's many brews. There's not one. There's many flavors.
Okay.
And so many flavors, you know, many flavors and rhymes and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just like, I wonder what was he sipping 40s all the time or whatnot?
Oh yeah, we're fucking drinking like a motherfucker at that
Oh
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right.
I mean, I only don't drink so much ever since I moved here. It's been like a year and a half.
Okay.
And just because there's no, I mean, I don't know too many people out here, and the people that I do know, they're not drinkers. So
Sure.
when
Okay.
when I visit California, it's like, let's go to the fucking tap room, right?
Crazy, huh?
Yeah, that's where everybody hangs out.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so that was going to be one of my next questions. So, is New York now your permanent residence, or are you just out
I
there
mean,
for a minute, or?
technically, I mean, I'm doing business out here, so it takes years, you know. It's not like it's not, you know, gonna pop off right away.
Sure.
We have a lot of really good things that we're working on, my partners and I. So I'm taking it easy while we're doing that, you know.
Okay.
We have a lot of writing and getting, you know, shit ready for investors, you know, to pitch and stuff like
Right.
that. But we got everything lined up pretty much. We're just waiting for the licenses to be available, you know.
Okay. And it's just as legal out there as it is in California?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but there like the stigma out here was like a lot stronger, you know. The cops were a lot tougher
Okay.
than in California, right? So although like it was kind of like a slow start for people to get comfortable and just smoking out in the streets, you know. People are like, fuck that, they're gonna kick your ass, you know, the cops are gonna whip your ass. But now it's pretty much legal to smoke wherever you can smoke a cigarette.
Oh, okay. Damn.
Yeah.
Cool. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And so at some point in time, are you coming back to Cali? Or you think you're gonna stay out there?
Like I don't know about like buying any property out in California, you know. I mean, I'm thinking like I would buy something here upstate and then probably, but yeah, I mean, my family's in California, so definitely visit.
Sure.
Yeah, I visit like this last year. I went like for the year and a half that I've been here. I visited like 4 times, you know, 5 times.
Okay. But you like it out there? You like the vibe out there? People are cool out there? Or no.
Kinda, you know. I mean, it's cool. You know, it's not California.
Sure.
You know,
Other
it's
people got attitude
it's a
out there?
lot tougher. It's a lot tougher. You don't walk out in the street and smile at people. You know what I'm saying? It's
Sure.
like that ain't the thing to do. Like California, you're out there and people are like, yee, you know. It's like, man, people ain't out here saying, yee, nigga, you shut the fuck up, you know.
And
Our people
what part of Brooklyn are you in? Because I know there's different like little
pretty much East New York, you know.
East New York. Okay, so kind of by Coney Island, no?
Yeah, I can catch the bus right here and it takes me right there.
Sick, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Go hang out with Nems.
Yeah.
You might start clowning and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's really cool out here, man. I mean, there's a lot of really cool people, but it's a lot more densely populated, so there's
Sure.
gonna be a lot more assholes too, you know. So
Sure. Yeah, and is it because I've never been there. I mean, obviously I've been to Frisco a bunch of times and you got buildings everywhere, but how is it just having buildings fucking everywhere? Like, I mean, there's Central
there's
Park,
parks.
right?
Yeah, there's parks. There's a park right down the street, the big one, you know,
Okay.
with the trails and stuff like that. And there's other parks. Um, and you know, really, I mean, if you really want to get away, you just drive an hour or two out of the city, you know, and you're in upstate, and it's really nice.
Oh, okay.
But again, like I said, it's not California. Like when I was in Oakland, I was living in Oakland. I lived right up by 580 or right above 580.
Mhm.
So it's really nice up there, you know, and you can go walking in a lot of big parks, a lot of redwoods and stuff like that. There's not a lot of big tree parks out here, I guess.
Okay. Okay.
But no, it definitely is different. I mean, you know, Redwood City,
Mhm.
right? It's a suburb.
Yeah.
It's not San Francisco, you know,
No.
it's not Oakland.
Yeah.
And so maybe, you know, being from Redwood City, I never saw myself living in San Francisco
No.
or Oakland, especially, right? I was
Sure.
like, from the West Bay, we're living nice out here. I'm never moving to the East Bay, right? That's what I always said. And then I moved to Oakland, but I only lived there for like a year and a half
Okay.
for work, you know. But and then like I said, oh, I'm never gonna live in the East Bay. I moved to Oakland, you know, the craziest part of the East Bay. And then I moved to East New York.
Dope.
And New York is the biggest city in fucking the country, right? So
Yeah.
like I said, being from the suburb, I never saw myself living in a big ass city because I didn't really like the idea.
Sure.
So but it doesn't really feel like that right here where I'm at. You know?
That's cool. Oh yeah.
It's a lot of housing. It's not
Okay.
not a lot of what do you call it, industrial or even business. It's all residential.
Oh, okay. And then and how did you get into the cannabis industry?
I forced my way in.
Nice.
Oh yeah, like around 2010.
Okay.
I was like, I never sold a dime. I smoked, you know, smoked, but I never sold it. I was all like, fuck selling it, you know. If I get in, I always told myself, if I get into weed, I'm gonna grow it, you know. I wanna
Sure.
go meet the farmer, you know. I'm not gonna
Uh-huh.
be over here dime bagging shit. And so I got this job doing purchasing, like procurement.
Yep.
And one of the sales guys in the office, one day he knew that I smoked, right? So one day he comes up to me and he's all like, "Hey, you smoke, right?" And I was just like, "Yeah." And he's all like, "Check this out." And he gave me this little ass dime bag. And I'm like, "What the fuck is this, dude?" I was like, I smoke more than that. And he's all like, "No, I got pounds of this, you know, and I'm trying to get rid of it, right?" And I was all like, and so at that point, I was all like, "All right, I'll start fucking with this, right? You know, if it's pounds, I'll fuck with it." And so, yeah, I forgot. So he knew the grower,
Okay.
and the grower was in Oakland. some Iranian guy. And so he takes me to the guy and I meet him and they show me all the pounds they have, you know, and I was all like, all right, this is cool. I could fuck with it because now I'm fucking with the grower, right?
Sure.
And so I take it, and you know, it's really funny. I don't know if he'll like this, but I sold the first one to Zach. I'm good. I'm gonna say it. I don't give a shit. And so like, you know, and so they were tripping out because we went over. I had already shown them the sample, and so they're all like, "All right." He's all, "Yeah, I'll take it." So I went over there with the fucking unit. He gives me the money. I walk out, and they're tripping out. They're like, "Oh, what?" You know, they've never seen that fast of a transaction, right? And I was just like, I was like, I don't know what you mean, you know, whatever. But I got rid of all their shit like in about 2 weeks.
Damn.
And so like, I was like, you guys fucked up because you gave me, you know, the opportunity to create these customers and now I can't even fucking sell them because you guys have fucking ran out. And so they started sourcing from other people to keep me working. And that's how I got into it. You know, after that, I knew of a grow in Oakland, you know? And so I was just like, I gotta get in there, you know, somehow. Because those guys seem to have plans, at least, you know, for the legal. And so I was just like, that's kind of what I'm looking for, somebody that has plans to get into the legit eventually when it happens, right?
Sure.
So this is around 2011, 2012. And the guy didn't want me to be part of it because he knew my cousin.
Okay.
He grew up with my cousin. And he and my cousin used to rob people. So he thought, oh shit, that's so-and-so's cousin. I don't want him around, you know, they're gonna come and rob me, right? I wasn't that type of person. I was just like, well, no, that's not. And the homeboy that was trying to get me in, he knew that I wasn't like that. He's all like, nah, you know, it's like he wants to come in and learn, right? And so the guy ends up getting robbed from the guys that are growing for him. And they're desperate. And so I go, oh shit, you know, he told me, he's all like, oh yeah, he's desperate. So I was all like, all right, that's my opportunity, right? And I go ask him again. And so he asked him again and he's all like, all right, fuck it. So I went in there and I took over the garden.
Damn.
I started managing it. And then in time, I took over all the production. We started making concentrates. I took over making the concentrates. I was managing the grow. I was managing the lab. I was managing the trimmers, all that shit. And so, I mean, like I always tell people, I never kept a job, you know, more than 2 years because I get bored, you know, really fast. So
Sure.
I learn something and I get bored with it, right? So, but this is the only thing that I've stuck to, you know.
Oh, that's cool.
Long, you know, so I was like, if anything, yeah, I think I would stick to this, you know, because, you know, I love smoking and I know that it helps people. I helped a lot of people that had cancer, you know, in their deathbed. I seen them pass, you know, so I know that it helps them. I've seen people go from being, you know, completely bedridden to just smoking or eating an edible and being able to get up,
right?
You know, and even though they're dying, you know, doesn't matter. They get that relief, you know. Sure. And so I always said to myself, if I get into cannabis, the reason that I would want to get into it is because I want to make sure that I know what's in what I'm consuming.
Sure.
And not just that, if I know that I know what I'm consuming is clean and safe, you know, then I know that the people that I share it with, these people that are sick, are going to get something that's clean and safe.
Absolutely.
And so that was always my, like I wouldn't budge on that shit. Like when we were making concentrates, they would bring in product and we would test everything before we would run it. And if it came back dirty, we wouldn't run it, you know. And so we would lose money because they would go to another extractor.
Sure.
Do it. They don't give a fuck. So this is the time when like closed loops first came out. So it was kind of like everybody didn't give a fuck, they're just producing. Um, but that's pretty much how I got into it. That was in Oakland, and that's why I ended up moving over there. But actually, I worked there like for like 6 years before I even moved to Oakland.
Oh, wow.
That's how stubborn I was. Yeah, I was in Redwood City. I was like, I'm not leaving Redwood City. Why the fuck am I leaving? After a while, I was in Oakland all day.
Sure.
And I was getting back home late, and I was just like, why am I doing this?
Totally.
And I just moved,
Yeah. And now it's impossible to go back to Redwood because it's way too expensive.
I mean, depending on how it goes out here, I would want to like go back, and if I could, buy my parents' house.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because they're not selling.
Sure.
They told us we're not selling.
Yeah.
But if I made some good cash out here, I can go back there, and I'm pretty sure they would give it to me for a family price, and so that it would help. And so just to keep it in the family, not even for me to live there,
Absolutely.
but to keep it for the family. But so yeah, if I ever move back to California, it would be to do that.
Sure. No, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And then we get to the top 5 albums.
Oh yeah, man. I got it right here down.
I know you got a sick list. You shared it with me before, so.
Yeah, man. I need my glasses. Right?
Dude, I just started wearing glasses like a year ago. I can't see shit.
And me like a few years ago.
Oh yeah.
And really, I mean, if you're lit, your blurry gets, or your vision gets blurry, right? So yeah. But anyways, here's my list. And this is no specific order, right?
Sure.
So it's just albums that.
And so do one at a time and then explain why.
All right. Well, like Herbie Hancock, The Future Shock, and Rocket, because growing up, breaking, that really influenced me a lot, all that stuff, I was really a hip hop head.
Yeah.
Probably up until like 97, 98 and shit. I kind of like dropped out around that time. But Rocket, I remember the video.
Yep.
I still listen to it, I put that shit on. So yeah. Africa Bombada and Soul Sonic Force, Planet Rock.
Fuck yeah.
And that one is because Breaking 2, and I actually performed for my parents with that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, my brother got me in. My brother was all like, my parents left to Mexico, and this is around the time I started breaking. So like, I was showing my brothers and sisters while my parents were gone. They're like, oh, you should do that for mom and dad when they get back. And so I used Planet Rock. Right? So that's embedded in my memory.
Oh yeah.
Then BDP, By All Means Necessary.
Yeah.
The track, My Philosophy. And that one, really because that was when I got back from Washington.
Okay.
And I met somebody at Sequoia, and I was into East Coast hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
There was already West Coast hip hop kind of, but, or like, I don't know. It's kind of like comparing Beat Street with Breaking the Movie, like, Breaking the Movie is kind of corny, Beat Street kind of looks kind of hard.
Yeah.
So that's why I liked it, because it's hard, it's tough, it's rugged shit. And so somebody told me like, oh, you like that kind of music? He's all like, have you ever heard of BDP? And even at that time I hadn't. So he's all, check out BDP. And I went and bought, that was the first CD I ever bought.
Nice.
That was when CDs were popping.
Mm-hmm.
And then NWA, Straight Outta Compton.
Hell yeah.
Right? I don't know. And I guess it's mostly hip hop because that's what I am. I'm a hip hop head.
Yep.
I like punk, I like metal, I like everything, jazz, whatever. But yeah, hip hop is the shit for me.
Word.
Hip hop got me into all the other music.
Yep.
Right. And then the last one is organized confusion. The stress, the extinction agenda.
Dope.
And that one's because at that time they're ahead at their time.
Mhm.
Organized confusion.
Absolutely.
So to me, that's what I was about. It was about pushing the limits, right?
Fuck yeah.
So yeah, I love that shit.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And we can tell the audience that you and I are kind of working on a little bit of some music in
Yeah.
the future. Won't go into too much, but we'll see what happens with that.
I'm ready. I mean, New York is extremely inspiring, and yeah, if you can't write a dope rap out here, you suck.
Well, like I said, bro, just take your time, do what you got to do, and then just hit me. And yeah, we're gonna make some sick shit.
Yeah, I already got some stuff for that for the one.
Dope.
Yeah, but I wanna do more.
Dope. Yeah, and just let me know when you want me to extend the length of the tracks and whatnot. Because like I told you, somebody else is working on something else, and they asked to do that. So
Yep.
just hit me.
I extended it. Well, the one that you sent me, I just I loop it myself on the.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Yeah,
problem.
I'm used to that because that's how Specs would give me a lot of the beats, is little ass snippets, like 30 seconds, 1 minute long, so I would loop them all the time.
Dope.
Yeah.
Hey man, we tried to do this many times, and we finally got to do it. So I appreciate your time. I know it's fucking midnight there, and I'm sorry that we had to do it late on your end, but
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the time change is crazy, but yeah, it took us some time to do it.
yeah,
But yeah,
I appreciate your time, bro, for
right on,
real.
bro.
And
Thanks for having me on.
absolutely, yeah, everybody's gonna like this one for sure. But yeah, man, we'll keep in touch. And like I said again, thank you again for being on this.
Right on, bro. Yeah, have a good one,
Yeah.
man.
Now go to sleep, Doc.
I'm gonna go
Check you
smoke.
out. Yeah, exactly. Peace.
Peace.